Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Hello. Welcome in. First time chat, Mystic Flora. Welcome, welcome. Today we're going to be making a little game. I was trying to set it up, but I couldn't quite get one thing to work for Godot, but you should be able to see most of it if I do this. So here's the Godot. We're just going to do a quick little small game from start to wherever we get, probably, for this month. Next month, I'll probably continue the Twitch extension stuff. I just didn't have enough time to set up what we needed for the back end part of it. But I am going to start afresh, do a quick little game. Feel free to give your input. But for now, I think what I was planning on doing is something that is easily scalable, that we could like get a game going and then scale off of it, which is like a clicker game, something cookie clicker style. So it's kind of where we're going to start off, and then we're going to see, I'm just going to show the process of how you would go through creating a small little game in Godot. And we should get a decent amount of progress in 2.5 hours, and it'll probably just be, yep, it'll soon be clicking time, exactly. I mean, adding art extension stuff. I am not sure. Oh, no. So what I was referring to is I'm making an extension, a Twitch extension for doing like voting and stuff. That has been an ongoing process, but I only do programming streams like once a month or so. So it's a slow process, but I don't have it set up for the back end stuff. We got most of the front end stuff working for it. So that's where that project is at. Yeah. So for today, we're gonna like take a break from that and do this instead. Just because I didn't have enough time this week to set up for doing that. But I figured, well, you know what? We just finished doing a... Oh, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, Mr. Flora. We just finished doing a game jam game in Godot, so it's fresh in my mind right now how it all works. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I could show it off a little bit, see, so that I can teach what I know, at least for anybody that's interested. So anyway, this is what... Nice alerts, thank you. Yes. Thank you. This is what it looks like when you start up a new project in Godot. So first off, on the left side here, this is where you'll get your node tree, which is going to have all of the pieces that make up the scenes of your games. I'm going to say the scenes are basically like classes, if you've ever done object-oriented programming stuff before. In Godot, for the most part, the scenes are like your classes, and then you can attach the scripts to them, and the scripts are where you do the actual programming. The scenes are also where you can set up like what you would normally call a scene in a game, or like a screen of game, a menu screen could be a scene, and then you could have sub scenes that are like the buttons of the menu, for example. So I'll go ahead and show what I mean. So you can make a 2D or a 3D or a UI type of scene here. We're going to go ahead and just make a 2D scene. We're not going to worry about like menu stuff to start out here. And you'll start with this root node at the top here. So this will be everything that you're building this scene under. Now we'll go ahead and just save this scene as like a main scene. If we save We can save it as like a main, and you can see it down here. They do give you this little icon you can use for things in the base folder, but you could get rid of that if you don't really want it. Doesn't matter too much, honestly. But we are going to go ahead and start with like a button so that we can make a clicker game. We'll probably need like a button and then something that shows our score, right? So if we add a new node, oh, you're not going to see this. Let me add as input here so you can all see what I'm looking at. One second. I didn't think about all of the different windows that we're going to have. Let's see if that can show up. Oh, it's not showing. Interesting. Not sure what that's all about. Give me one sec. All right. And we'll just go ahead and do that. There we go. Now you can see it. You're currently working on a project. It's your very own client VTuber model. Ooh, that sounds cool. That is something that I've thought of doing, but sounds like it's going to be pretty difficult. So good luck on that project. All right, so let me go ahead and put this here. There we go. Okay, now you can see what I'm seeing. And I'll go ahead and just resize this, make it a little more visible. There we go. So when you create a new node, it looks like this. When you go under control, you can see the various control types. This is like your UI type element things. So we can look at the buttons here. There's a couple different types of buttons, but we'll just go with like a base button here, or we could go with like a texture button. The texture button is more of like each piece of the button, like each action you can do on the button, whether it be hovering, clicking, etc., can be a different image. But we can just go with like a base button and use what they have for like a base, right? And with this, so now this is going to be in our scene here. This is what you're going to be able to see. If you hit play, you'll want to have to select a scene. We're on the main scene. That's what we can see here. So there's the button in our scene that we just put in there. That's what it's going to look like in the game. So if we wanted it to be a little bigger, we can drag this here and make it a bigger button. You can put it more in the center of the screen. If you look at this here, you can see this outline. That's the game's screen. So if we wanted it a little more centered, we could put it over here like this. And then we could put some text in. You kind of like the itty bitty little button. Does make it a little harder to play the game, but so we could just type in some text here, and this is our button here, right? So if we hit play, now we can see that button in our game. Currently doesn't do anything when you click it, but we can fix that by using scripts. And if we click up here on the node tab here, there's signals. And this is where we can add what happens when we click something. First, we'll need some kind of script, and it could just be like up here at the top level, for example, at this node 2D, we can make it like our main or root node. I'll just call it main for now. And then we can attach a script to it. Yeah, we'll go ahead and call it main. And this is what the scripts look like. So it's kind of Python-esque programming here. Have I thought about getting my own VTuber model made? I have. It's in the works. And up here, you can see the different tabs. So if we go back to the 2D, you can see the 2D here, scripts. This is where we can actually program stuff in. And now this is where we can set like variables and different things like that. So if we go ahead and put in like a var, a variable, call it something like money. This is our money variable, and we can set like a base value to it, maybe let's say 100. Is what we can start with or something, or maybe we just start at 0, right? And if we wanted to, we can do something, this at export. What this tag does is it makes this variable show up in the inspector. So when we look at this main here, we can see this variable here now. Then we can add something to show how much money we have. So I like to use labels. I guess you could use other types of things like text boxes or whatnot, but I'm just going to use a label. And we can call this the money label. We can call this like the click button. We don't have a name for it yet, but that's like the main button that we would click, right? And then the money label, we could say like our cash here in dollars. And you can see it down here. Now, if you drag this box open, you'll see that the text size doesn't actually change. But you can change that using the label settings here. If you create a new one, you can change the font, and you can just do like a system font or anything. We'll just use the system font here. And now if we increase this size, this is where we can actually see that change. So let's say like 50, or maybe we do like 75, right? So now we can see, this is where we'll see the amount of money we have. For example, now what if we want to be able to display this amount of money? In our main script here, what we can do is leverage these functions that come in the Godot classes. So these are ones that all the Godot classes can deal with. Actually, I can't say all. The ones that I know of. But they start with an underscore here. We could do like process. Oops. This one here, process delta float as a parameter here. And what this one will do is every game tick, it's going to call this function. So we can do whatever we want in here for each like game, for the game loop, basically. So as long as the game is running, this function is running. And this is where we can do like, what we could have like a display money function. And then we could create this function. Let's call it func display money. And this will display the current amount of money we have. And the way we can do that is by accessing this money label down here and changing its text. So the way you can get one of the child nodes here is by using this $sign money, and that can get you that object. There's a couple other ways, but this is like the most basic way to do it. Thank you so much, Mystic Flora. I'm not really looking for it right now, but I appreciate it. So now if we look at this money object, in the right here, we can see that the thing we want to change, it's called text. So if we did money.text, this is the property that we would want to change. And we want it to start with this, probably, right? Make sure that we keep it the same throughout. So what we can do is do money.text equals, and we can put like this base value that we always wanted to show, and then we can do plus money. Now this isn't going to work because, well, actually it might in Godot. Let's see. Let's see if it crashes here. Yeah, so it's going to crash because this money value is not a string. So if we look down here, it says the operand string and int operator plus. It doesn't know what to do when we're mixing types here. So what we can do is simply create a new string, and one of the strings constructors has a parameter that takes an integer. So what this does is converts this into a string. We've got this to show us now the money when we start the game. It'll show up here, the current amount we have. Let's do something like that. Now we want to be able to increase our cash as we click the button, right? If we hit node here, these are the signals. So whenever something happens with this button, one of these things can go off. So it could be when we press the button, when we toggle, it could be a toggle button, or if we like our mouse enters or leaves its little bounding box here, or what have you. So let's say when we press it, we want to increase this amount by 1, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to click here, and then we're going to click connect. You could also double click this, and it'll show up with this screen. So what it wants us to do is, when we press this button, we need to find a script that we can put this function in. So on the click button is pressed, we hit connect, and now this function, whatever is in here, will happen whenever we click that button. So we could easily just do money. So you say like money equals money plus 1. A short version of doing this is just saying money plus equals 1. That's the same thing. So if we hit play on that, now whenever we click this, it should increase our cash by 1. So now every time we click it, it just goes up. So there's our basis, the base of our clicker game here, right? And we could have it do whatever we want. We could even have it go down. And so we just are going into the negatives as much as possible. Oh yeah, we're already printing money. Yep. There we go. I kind of like the idea of doing one that's in the negatives. It's kind of funny. And now there's something we could say too about the way that this is printing out. So it's showing a negative like this. We could put the negative on the outside of the dollar sign if we wanted to. So it looks a little more natural, because doing it like this seems kind of weird. Kind of like the idea that you're playing a clicker game, but you're like going deeply in debt every time you click the button. So maybe we go with that. So let's say, for example, this is what we normally want it to display as. But maybe we wanted to put the, sounds horrible, yeah. Put the negative sign on the outside. So maybe we throw an if statement in here. If our money is less than 0, then we're going to want to display it in a different way. And then we can say else. So if it's greater than or equal to 0, then we do it the normal way. Forget number go up games, temporary number go down games, exactly. So what we can do here is put the negative on the outside like this, and then get like the absolute value of our money for the display here. And I believe ABS is the absolute value here. We just did this. So now, oh, that didn't work. All right. If our money, okay, so our money starts at 0, so it should actually display this one, but for some reason it's displaying this. Interesting. Oh, I did the wrong direction. That's why. Okay, so as we click this, you can see the negative is now on this side of the dollar sign. So now as we click, we're going further in debt. All right, got a basis going. So now maybe we can make some way where you could earn money. Credit card simulator, yeah. Maybe we could have like a loan button, and you hit the loan button and it gives you cash, but then you have to pay it off later. So in order to do that, you could add another button here. This will be our loan button. Let's go to the 2D here so we can see our loan button. Let's put loan in here like this. And maybe it'll just like pop up. So something fun we can do is we can hide it, and maybe it only shows up once you get to like -$10. Once you realize that you're not getting any cash when you're clicking this button, right? So what we can do is in main, we have this display money, but we can also say if our money is less than 10, or -10 rather, then what we can do is make this loan button visible by saying loan button dot show. So right now we have it starting as hidden, but now as we click, we get to 10, boom. loan shows up once we get below 10. Now we can make it get at 10. It's kind of what I was thinking at first. Didn't think about that, but we can say less than or equal to here. So now when it gets to 10, the loan button will show up and we can get a loan. So similar to the click button, we want something to happen when we click this loan button. So let's say, for example, when we hit the loan button, our money, we add 100 to it. Perfect. We got $100. And then we keep going. We could get another loan. We could make it so that the loan is hidden after we click it. Or if our money is less than 10, it shows. Else, it's hidden. We could do something like that. So now after we get our loan, it should be hidden again. Boop. And now it doesn't, we can't click the loan here. We'd have to spend our cash all the way down back to 10 in order to get a loan again. For purposes of testing, let's just say 10 for now, right? So we go down to 10, we get our loan, we go down to 10 again, we get our loan. It can work like this. So now, after we click the loan button, we have a different tag show up that says how much money you owe to the bank. So let's go ahead and make a label for that. This will be our owed money. Oops, if I can spell. I'm gonna make it say like you owe, and then a certain amount of cash here. Let's put this here. So be, yeah, we could just put it, or maybe we put it underneath. Let's put it right there. So it starts out at 0, but we can make it so, you know, you don't know about this at the start by hiding it. Go back to our little script in main here. And we could say, once we click on the loan button, we show the owed money. And for like optimization's sake and stuff, you could like put an if statement in here to make sure that this isn't actually already showing. And I guess it probably wouldn't make a big difference optimization wise, but it'd probably be a little bit better. Anyway, now when we click it, it'll show that we have owed money. And we can make a new variable here. For our owed money, we start at 0, owed money. But whenever we click this loan button, we can put owed money plus equals 10 as well. So now our money goes up, but our owed money also goes up. And then similarly to how we have the display money function, we could have like a display owed money function. And it can work very similarly. We put our owed money. And then we can grab this, the UO here. And so this will be updating as we get it. So let's see. We're going down. We get to 10. We get a loan. Oh, interesting. I forgot to put the correct thing here, which is our owed money. There we go. Now we go down to 10. We get a loan. We own $10 now. We owe $10. I think I said own on accident there. Get a loan. Now we owe 20. The more we do this, the higher up this number will go. Let me get some water real quick. Now, let's say we wanted to put some interest or something on the amount we owe. Yeah, we take out a loan, but it has an interest rate. So if we go into here, to our process, this delta is the time since this function was last called. I believe that's how it works. So what we can do is a couple of things. We have a couple options here. We could make a timer, and that timer would go off. We could have it like go off every 5 seconds, and when it goes off, it adds $1 or adds like a percentage or whatever, right? We could use this delta to like manually make some kind of timer style thing. Or we could make our own like variable that we're counting down, and once it gets to a certain point, count back up. I haven't used timers much, but I'm willing to give it a shot here. So in order to do that, we need to add a timer. So there's this timer here. We'll call this the interest timer. And we could organize this a little better too. Like we could add a node that just says like these are the buttons or something, and then like put these under there just to kind of organize a little better. Oops. Actually, instead of a node, why don't we make this a control node so that we can tell that's what it is, right? That way it's just a little better organized for our sakes. Oh, but if we do that, we need to make sure that we get the right thing here. So it would be buttons, and it kind of works like a file path here. So this would be the loan button, something like that. Like that. There we go. So it should still work, but now it's a little more organized, so we could like collapse this. Maybe organization will help us get out of the debt we're building. Maybe. So far, we don't have a way to get out of the debt we're building. also wanted to put equals on here, greater than or equals to 0, because I feel like the 0 doesn't need the negative sign. But it's shown here. All right, so let's say this is every 10 or maybe just 5 seconds. This will process, let's see. There's a way, what's one shot mean? Timer will stop after reaching the end, otherwise as by default, the timer will automatically restart. Okay, so we want it to be like this. Where it repeats. So by default, it'll be off. But once we click the loan button, we'll want this timer to start. So we go into the interest timer, and I think it's just start. There we go. Then if we go into the node thing, here's a timeout. So whenever it gets down to 0, we'll just attach it to this main script as well. Once it gets down to 0, then we can say owed money plus equals, and then we can just put like some kind of percentage here, maybe like 0.1 would be a 10% charge here. Oh, I put owned instead of owed. Oops. So we'll add 10% every 5 seconds. There'll be one day, I'm sure. Yeah, there will be one day where we can pay off our loan, right? Let's see if that worked. To get down to 10, we grab a loan, then the timer will start. After 5 seconds, we should see there's another dollar in there. As we're going, it's going to keep adding on. So now our interest is going to be even worse. Boom, there it goes. So now we're got an interest rate going. Oh, and there we go. So this is something that we can try to deal with. So now we see that we're getting into like the fractions of cents, but we probably want to just round it to 2 decimals, right? So let's see if we can do that. If we do this, and then we can say, I wonder if there's like a round function. Round F stands for float, so that's probably what we need here. Rounds x to the nearest whole number. It's not quite what we wanted. We want to round to, let's see if we can control click to see. So this is the documentation. We can see if there's, this is in the global scope, so everything has access to these functions. We can see if there's one that rounds to a certain amount of decimal places. Let's see. Not seeing one in here. Unless we can do a different round that has more. Doesn't seem like it. Let me look it up real quick. All right. I suppose we could do it the math way. Round 2 dis. is round. Yeah, most people just say to do it with the powers and doing it. Okay, so we could do it using our math functions. It can equal. Okay, so we'll have to wait, what is it exactly we need to do here? Oh, stepify. Wait, somebody said there is one. Snapped. Actually, they might have a function. It's just called snapped, perhaps. Is that in here? Snapped. Oh yeah. Look at that. Returns the multiple of step that is closest to x. This can be used to round a floating point number to an arbitrary number of decimals. Oh, look. They do have one. So we just need to call snapped and then 0.01 like this. Let's see if that worked. Okay. There's an 8.4, 0.24, 0.56. Yeah, so now it's stuck at the 2 decimals here. Nice. So now we don't have fractions of cents. Give me just 1 sec. I can do some quick. There. Looks good. It's not quite centered, but I'm not worrying too much about visuals. We could scooch this over just a bit if we wanted. We could put a colon in this. Do something like this. We can line these up with other elements if we want. Here we go. So let's go back to the main script and make it so that we have the colon in here. Actually, make it look a little bit better. There we go. Going down in cache. All right, so now we need some kind of end condition and some way to make money. So maybe once we get to like -100, we can show a button that has like, it's like a work button and it gives us $1 or something. So let's do something like that. So get a button. Let's call it work button. And I'll just say work. loan button down here. It's also kind of annoying. I should have made all of these the same shape. Which I guess we could go back and do as well, but it's close. So we got work button here. We'll hide that until we have negative $100 owed or something. Oops. So, similar to how we did this one, if our owed money is less than or equal to 100, or greater than or equal to positive 100, is how we would want to do it, then we show the work button. Otherwise, we'll want it to be hidden. Or, well, not, maybe we take out the else and we just say it'll show and then it'll be there for the rest of the game. Now we go to the work button. Similarly, we could do like the press here. When we hit the work button, we can say our money plus equals 1. So now we go up in money. Here we go. Let's see if all that works. We're going down. We'll get these loans. And they're going to start accruing some interest here. They should be. Oh, you know why? I make it so that the timer starts here. But we need to check and just make sure that, so I'm like resetting the timer. So instead what we should do is check if the interest timer is stopped, then we start it. That way we're not resetting it when we click the loan button. There we go. So now it should go down even though we're doing this. Yep, there it goes. And now that we owe 100, we can start doing the work. Click it. And now we can start getting things here. Now we need a way to pay off our debt here. Ah, yeah, work. Exactly. So should we make it so that it's another button that pops up and we pay off our loans? Or maybe we just need to get to this amount and pay it off? We can get out of negative money. Exactly. Maybe we should make it so that you're kind of chasing this number. And then once we hit it, it goes to 0. I could get down with that. So in here we can say, we can make another function that we're going to check, and pay loan or something. Or just pay loan. Let's make a function down here called pay loan. We say if our money is greater than or equal to the owed money then our money minus equals our owed money. So we pay our money, and then the owed money is set to 0. We no longer owe any of it. So now we can pay off our loan if we do it this way. Let's see if we can do this. There we go. As we're going, we're accruing this debt, what we owe. So now we can start working. We're gonna try to get to the 105. Oh, now it's 116. We gotta go faster than our interest rate. We're almost there, and boom, we paid it. We do get the rounding thing, so we need to do that again. I did it. I did it. Thank you for believing in me. Carpal tunnel simulator. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so we need to do this snap thing to round to the to 2 decimal places. Doesn't like something. What do you not like? Too few arguments. Oh, right. We need to do that. So now I can replace, let's replace these 2 with that and that with that. That way it'll always show the snapped version. Okay. So now that rounding thing shouldn't work, shouldn't break it either. Oh, I forgot to do owed money on this one. There we go. So now we can do this, hit loan. And then we'll, all right, work. We gotta get to that amount and we'll make sure that it doesn't do the rounding thing again. And boom, we paid it. Nice. Now we got $3. Now we're actually just earning money. Look at that. And then we spend the money. Look at that. Now what we can do is put in like a win screen type deal. So once we pay off our loan, maybe that'll be our win condition. So if this happens, we pay the loan off and then we win. So now what we can do is make a new scene that shows this information, or we can just leverage this scene to do it. So since we kind of probably just want to keep our owed money and money visuals at least, what we can do is disable the buttons. So if we do we could do like a loop. So for button in, and this is another great thing about using nodes like this to organize. We can get all three of these buttons by saying buttons dot get children, and then we can like disable each of the buttons. So now it'll just get all three of these and disable them. Once we get there. Oh, okay, so disable is not the name for it. Let's go into the documentation. So let's right click this, open documentation. So for the button class, these are the properties. And we can look at the disable. Was disable not one of the properties? There's not a disable property. So maybe it is under base button. There it is, disabled. We need to do set disabled to true. Set disabled to true. So it looks like they don't have like a function for disable. Instead, they just have a variable within it called disabled. So that should turn that off when we get to that point. Then we can make like some words that pop up that say you win or something. So why don't we make another label for that? Win text. You win. We need to make a font. Let's do 100 for this one. And we can like rotate it. Put it in front here. And then we can change the color and or the outline, you know, give it an outline of like, let's do an outline of 10 or something. And then we can change its color to a fun color. Let's do like a blue. That works. Boom, you win. You can also change like the color of these guys. You know, the cash could be like yellow. And then our owed money would be like a red, maybe. Let's blind everybody with bright colors. Okay, so the win text is going to be blank to start. But once we hit this win condition, we can do win text dot show. I forgot to make sure this was, wait, if money is greater than or equals to owed money. Why is that happening? It should start hidden. Apparently it's calling the win function right off the bat for some reason. Oh, because we start at 0. Let's just say it's greater than our owed money. Okay. Let's go through the whole game loop here. We start at 0 cash. We get a loan. We're getting loans. We're getting loans, we're getting interest. Oh yeah, we want you to make it so that the UO doesn't show up until you got money, right? Until you got a loan. All right, let's see. Almost there, and got it. You win. Buttons are disabled, so we can't do anything else, but we win. 46 cents to spare. Let's make this not visible. I think we had already set up the way that it shows when we, yeah, there we go. Okay, there's our game, our little game. Any input? Anybody want to, what else should we put in this little game? Any thoughts? I won capitalism. Yeah, that's how that works, right? The anti-clicker game, where you don't want to press the button, because it only just makes you have to work to get back to where you started. Now, of course, you could add like art assets and music and stuff eventually. What do people add to clicker games? I guess usually things that like auto click or give you money without you having to click the button, or like double clicks, things like that. Let's add like a power up that you can buy. That sounds good. So let's say we make another button. I love our buttons and labels. Create a button. This button we can say is the ability to invest. Yeah. We're getting a raise. Okay, yeah. Upgrade button, or let's call it a raise. Or maybe the raise just happens as we're going. So how about we add invest as passive income raises more value per click. Yeah, I like that. Let's do like a raise first. Let's say like you got a raise. So we can make this show up for a little bit. The rich get richer, am I right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. So now we get the raise here. And what it can be is maybe you get a raise if you click the button fast enough. Like say you're a hard worker. So what we can do there is put in like a variable here that's like time, or like raise brutal. Yeah. Yeah, brutal, exactly. Raise time, and then raise clicks. So let's say you do 10 clicks in 1 second. So now what we can do is check for raise. make a function to check for our raise. Kind of overloading this one script. We could put scripts in other parts here instead of just this one, but since our game's kind of a basic game, it all kind of fits on this one. All right, so check raise. So what we can do is got a raise time, raise clicks. And I think delta is delta in seconds, milliseconds? I'm not sure. But that's what we're gonna have to use to like decrease a certain variable. So we'll probably need one more variable in here that is like a time. I'm trying to remember how I did my double clicking for our game jam game for itty bitty bidding. I think I just did time since the last click, which isn't exactly what we're doing here. I guess we could use a timer as well. A timer might actually be a smarter way to do this. So let's say like number of clicks. Clicks since that's a good rate. Clicks raise. I don't know. And it'll start at 0. So for the check for raise, we can say, so let's make a timer. So what we could do is, if the raise timer oh, right, we need the $sign here. If the raise timer is stopped, then we can start it. Should we put all of our pieces together here? All right, get all our syntax. So if it's stopped, we're going to start it. Then this timer, we can do a one-shot timer, so it won't repeat automatically. I guess what we would want is when we click, instead of putting the check for raise here, we'll check for the raise when we click the work button. All right, so if it's stopped, we'll start it. Then we'll say our clicks for raise will increase by 1. And if our clicks for raise is greater than 10, greater than or equal to 10, then we can say our click value is increased by 1. And then we'll have to make a variable up here for our click value. And it starts at 1. The razor timer, yeah, we'll say 1 second. Why not? Can you get 10 clicks in 1 second? Then it'll increase your raise value. Also, we'll want to display this raise text. Raise text dot show. Then we could do like a we just say when the timer here times out, it'll do a couple things. It will hide our raise text. So if we did get the raise, it'll just wait until the timer's out and go away. And so we'll just hide that text. Now, if you like got it real close, that text wouldn't show for very long. I guess we could have a timer that is specifically for the text, but for now, I think this will be good enough. Then, if we weren't able to get the raise, we'll want to do the clicks for raise will equal 0 again. We'll also need to put like the clicks for raise equal to 0 here so that we don't get like multiple raises from the one attempt. Okay. So we should be able to get a raise now. However, I just realized we're not actually applying the click value. So now, when we click on work, it'll be money plus 1 times our click value, which I guess we could just say click value plus equals our click value. Let's see if we can do this. Let's get a raise. That red text is pretty hard to look at, honestly. But I guess that just goes into the narrative, huh? Our ugly loan. Let's see if we can get a raise. We got a raise. We're getting raises. So now we're getting 4 each time. Boom. We win so much faster, right? So 10 might be too easy. Let's say raises. Let's do like 25. Can we get 25 clicks in a second? I don't know. I don't know how fast I can click. Probably not that fast. And like I thought, the text didn't show for very long. I don't think I can get 25 in 1 second. So let's go to like 15. Okay, maybe 10 is actually kind of where we got what we got. let's just keep it at 10 for now. So now we can get raises if we do 10 clicks in a second. Woo, raises. All right. Now we can do like the investing part. So for investing, how would we want to do that? Let's see. Could I see like click a button again for investment? And then that investment would also go off during the interest timer. Or it could be like a somewhat randomized amount of like a random percent that it gets. So it could go up or down even. And then that's just added into our final calculation for our win condition. Do something like that. Kind of like that idea. This will be our invest button. And then we'll have to have a label that's like our investment text. It's not really text, it's like investment. Let's call it the investment money, since to keep in line with what we've been doing here. This one be like investment here. Let's get the text again, font. Our investment we can put like down here. Let's make sure that won't overlap at all. All right. Let's go back to our main script and display that as well. Display invested. Invested. Investment money text equals this plus the string version snapped of invested money, and then we'll need a variable for our invested money. And we can keep this hidden until we click the button. Invest button pressed. And we can say our money. Let's say we invest like 100 at a time. Invested money plus equals 100. We do need to make this button actually say invest. And then we get a little bigger. And we'll just put it over here inside. Invest button pressed will also show my investment money. Doing this a little sloppily, honestly. We're not really future-proofing this much with all of this, the way it looks. But that's fine. It's just a quick little game that we're making for fun, for funsies. So we got investment money. This button will be hidden. Let's say until let's say once the work button shows. So we owe 100, and then we'll also be able to invest. Now, when the timer for the interest happens, we can also say our invested money plus equals, and then we could put like a random value in here, like our invested money. Let's do a random first. So let's get a variable in here that's like our random invest rate. And that will equal a random float between 0, actually say -1 and 1. Oh, does it only take one number? It doesn't let us do. Here's a random float between 0 and 1. Okay, so this one, we'll just do this. So we get a random number, 0 to 1. And with that number, we can decide whether it would increase or decrease as well. Can we do rand? Well, what's the way we want to do this? I'm trying to think. We could do like just a regular rand function. Does this give an int? Is it not called rand? Hold on. Time to look up our global scope. Probably has the rand stuff. Let's see. Rand. Rand from seed. Rand float range might be the way to go. Yeah, let's do rand float range. Rand f range. Now we can put in whatever we want. So let's say -0.5 to +0.5. So any number between there will be our random rate. And we'll just multiply that, add to our invested money, the invested money amount multiplied by our investment rate here. think that works. Let's find out. Go. We're getting a loan. Once we get to 100, we should be able to also invest. So we invest. Here's our investment. It went down. Dang. We're not doing too great on this investment. I'll start working while we're doing the investment. I'll look as best I can so I can get some raises. Got a raise. I still haven't gotten any positive amount from the investment here. We also need to make sure that we're adding the investment to the cash for the wind condition check. We hadn't even started working before we invested. Yeah. Just keep going in the negatives. That's how it works, right? Our investment is not doing great. It's just going down now. It went up a couple times, but now it's just going down. No, it went back up. Maybe we make the investment more likely to go up. Hey, I finally got past the 100 point. So right now it's pretty balanced, right? So let's say it's more likely to go up. We can also where do we check the wind condition again? That's the pay loan. That's right. So if money plus invested money is greater than owed money, then the invested money, yeah, we got a whole almost $1.99 from investing, exactly. Almost $2. We're rich. So if our money minus, okay, so our money plus our invested money is over our owed money, then we need to figure out the money plus invested money here. So let's go invested money minus equals the owed money. Then if our invested money is now less than 0, our money plus our invested money does that make sense? Invested money minus equals the owed money. Or I guess we don't need this even. We just do this. We always do the invested money first, and then we set the invested money to 0. So what happens is the invested money, or all the owed money, is subtracted off of our invested money. Then the remaining amount from the invested money is subtracted from our money. Then our invested money is 0 and our owed money is 0. I think that makes sense. But now that the let's make this. Oops, not that. Let's make the owed money go up like way more. Let's say 25 actually. Our owed money, our interest rate is worse now. Now we'll be owing more money more quickly. We invest, then we can start working. Let's see if our investment does good this time. So now it looks like it's going up more often. So we did that setting so that it looks nice. But as we're not working here, amount owed is going up pretty fast. All right, we're getting close. And we win. Yep, subtracted from there, got the cash, we're good. Cool. We win. We paid everything off. Maybe the win text will say, like, you win, and then tell you why. You paid off your loan. We can like center the text, I think. I think that's part of this, is it not? Resource? No. I guess that's not part of this. Where is that? What's beauty? Structured text, displayed text. Maybe it's a theme override. No. Is it one of these alignments maybe? Maybe it's just this. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. There we go. You win. You paid off your loan. That's not what it'll say. Look at that. We made a little game. Gotta love it. So that's how you make a quick little game. I think we're pretty good here. We can stop our creating of this game. Unless there's other things people want to see. See us add into it. I'm gonna actually go, my water bottle's empty. Go grab some water real quick. I will be right back. Okay, and we're back. Thank you for waiting. All right. Got our nice little game. We need to save. Make sure we got that saved. Didn't really show off much of making scenes in scenes. We don't have a whole lot of time to do much more though. If we wanted to do another whole concept of something, but I could make a quick little scene in a scene, show that off. All right, so let's say we wanted something that will repeat a lot. Maybe we have like a visual that shows up in multiple places, or some kind of object that is slightly different but will show up multiple times, kind of like how the buttons are. We can make a class for it, basically. So what I mean by that is we can make a scene, so like a new scene here. Let's make, for example, in other types of games, you might have like enemies. Maybe in this game, we could have things that fly in and block you from pressing a button or something, for example. We can have our enemy, and we could like add childness to this. So maybe the enemy has an image. So a sprite 2D, for example. And then we could let's just make a new texture. I wonder if is there like a new image texture? Yeah. We don't really have, can we just make like I wonder if we could just make like a square that's a color. Gradient texture could be, let's do a new gradient texture 2D. Oof, that's right. Oh, this is just the texture though, so we can't set the color, right? Just the gradient. Placeholder texture 2D. There we go. Here's a placeholder texture. Oh, we could have set the size here. Let's just like reset the scale and do like 10. Increase the scale on this one. Do 100, sure. There's our pretty short structure. Placeholder texture. Let's reset the position. And then maybe this has a script as well, the enemy script. Maybe on process, it moves. So let's say it just moves from right to left, just to make things easy here. What we can do is get the position, the X value and then we increase it by the delta amount, and then we just pass in delta here, like that. Oops. Do something like that. Actually, we do want to save that here. This scene. So you can see we see the scene and the script down here now. Whoa, thank you for the raid. John Binks, thank you so much. Got jump scared by that. Thank you for the raid. Thank you. How's the stream going? It's going all right. Got a little game going. Thank you for the follow. Addy Crafty, thank you. I appreciate it. Welcome in. Right now we're just making a little game, programming a little game. We've got like a clicker game. I'll show it off real quick. So we've got a cache amount, and we click this. Oh, we go into the negatives. But once we get to negative 10, we can take a loan out. But that loan has an interest rate. So seems like you're not going to ever be able to do anything about this until you hit 100. Now you can invest. You pay 100, you get 100, and the investment starts going as well. You can also click this button to work. If you click it fast enough, you can get raises so that your clicks do more than just one at a time. Seems even more realistic than COD, yeah, exactly. And then once you eventually get enough money to pay it off, you win. You pay off your loan. This is the little thing that we've been making for this, just to kind of show off how to make something in Godot. John's also developing something, so you figured you'd another developer? Well, thank you. I appreciate it. What are you working on over there? It's kind of cute. Thank you. So right now it's just kind of showing off if we wanted to make a scene within a scene, how that kind of works. So we just have this enemy that'll like move its X position. You've never done anything at Godot, but you've been interested? Yeah, I have done a couple of things, a couple of game jam games in Godot. We just finished a game jam with Game Dev TV. They just did a game jam, and me and a couple of other people were working on a small little game called Itty Bitty Bidding. You're working on a stream overlay element for Twitch streamers. Really just for Addy, but it's on itch, so I guess others could use it. And most of the time you're working on a virtual card game. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I also am working on a stream overlay. I hadn't set up to do the back end stuff for today's stream, so that's why we went into making this little game. But I'm working on an overlay thing. Well, it's not really an overlay thing. I guess it's more an extension to for Twitch that I'm working on, rather than like an overlay for the streamer. All right, so we've made an enemy. This is a scene. Works kind of like a class would in other object-oriented programs. So now we have our enemy, and we can place an enemy directly in like this. You could also like spawn them in throughout the game, but let's just put this here so you can see kind of how this works. Backend is where you live for the day job. So that's the easy part. Working with physics engine is the hard part. Yeah, that's fair. Thank you so much, John Binks, for the follow. I appreciate it. Yeah, my day job is also mostly back-end stuff. But I just hadn't set it up because I hadn't looked into exactly what I need for Twitch's extensions. I don't know if they use specific libraries and things. Because on the front end, they used React. So we learned that last time I was programming on the stream. But on this stream, we program at least once a month, but every Wednesday and Sunday we're streaming. And most of the time, I'm streaming little indie games and things like that. But we'll jump in and do programming at least once a month. So this is what we're doing this time. All right, so we got our little enemy in here. We can even have them outside of the box to start. We don't have an image for them, so it's just placeholder here. But now if we run it, we should see the enemy move in. If I did it right. Nope, I didn't do it right. I think, let's see if they're in here, if they move. Oh, it's just moving really slowly. The delta was not enough for the movement. Not sure about that. My thing only needs to connect to the event sub WebSocket, so can't say if you've looked into it. Yeah. I'm like gonna be putting info into a database and stuff, so go ahead for a lurk and take care of the kids and animals. I'll be back if I can. Thank you. Yes. Sounds good. Thank you for the raid again. I'm going to go to this script and we're going to do delta times 10. Or that was not, well, there we go. Fat fingered that. There we go. So now it moves across a little faster. We could maybe even do more. Let's do 25. Look at it slide across the screen. This is our enemy. So that's kind of how you would do a scene within a scene. Something like that. And so we could, the benefit of doing a scene within a scene is now we can just kind of like have a bunch of these enemies around, right? Or we can like spawn them in, stuff like that. So now we can just place these all over the place. And now when we play, they all do the same thing. So it's nice to have scenes within scenes so that you can do things like this. Right now they don't actually do anything though, so. just to showcase how that would work. All right, let's save that. That is good there. Going back to our little game here. Was there anything else people wanted to add into this little game? We've got a little bit of time. I'll go ahead and show it off one more time. So we got this. We click to pay, hit the loan button. Every time we get under 10, we can hit the loan button again. Got the interest rates going now. Oh, now we can invest. We can start working towards paying off our loan. All the loans we took out. We need like a credit score thing now. Taking out all these loans, but you're not paying them off, your credit score goes down. And then your loan interest rate is bad. Just make it as realistic as possible. All right, let's see if we can click fast enough to get some raises. There's a raise. That shouldn't be too bad. When did I start streaming in general? When did I start streaming? How long has it been? Chad, do you know how long it's been? It's been like maybe half a year. Does that sound about right? Maybe a little more than that? I'm not 100% sure, honestly. But not super long. We win. We paid off our loan. Okay, yeah, that sounds interesting. I could check it out. Thank you. All right. My wrist is getting a little tired of clicking that button. Let me stretch it out a little bit here. Okay. Excuse me. What we can do is make it so that as long as our enemy is in the box, it disables it. That way we have a use for our enemy. So now the enemy moves across, we can say we will want a Twitch died your back. All right, no worries, no worries. What we will need is inside of the enemy, we'll want a bounding box of some kind. So I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's under the node 2D, I believe. It's not the collision shape we want. It's the, I think it's just called area, actually. Yeah, this area 2D. Let's go into the inspector here. All right. So the area wants a shape. So let's do like a. I think the area needs a collision shape like this. See? Now it's been a little bit since I've done this. Let me remind myself here. Is it the collision shape we want? Yeah, I think it is. No, maybe not. Okay, so let's do a rectangle. Oops. Let's fit it into here like this. Here we go. Nice. So now we have like a little collision shape here. We'll also need a collision shape for our little click button. So let's get another area for that. With a collision shape. Oop. Don't want to do that. There we go. There we go. All right, so now what we can do is, oh yeah, one other thing we can do for this, for the, what's this called, scene, within the scene here, is we can, is it on this side that we do it? There's a way to like, oh, maybe it's this that I'm thinking, to make them all kind of work in tandem here. I don't know what I'm talking about, apparently. I thought there was a button for this, but whatever. It's fine. Kids fed, chicken fed, dogs fed, and your beat. You're looking until you pass out. All right, sounds good. Thanks for watching. Thanks again for the follow as well. All right. So, forgot to get the kitty her snacks too. I bet your kitty's screaming at you for it. She won't let you forget, I'm sure. So now what we want to do is that when this bounding box gets into this bounding box, we want it to disable this button here. So what we can do is look at the signals here, and then you can say in the area, if an area has entered this area, actually, oops. We could make this, let's remove this. Let's actually disconnect that. Why don't we make the click button have a script itself, so I can show off having multiple scripts here. So let's say that area 2D, it makes more sense to do it this way. So once an area has entered the buttons area here, then we can say disabled, or I guess set disabled to true. Then once the area exits, oops, I did that in the wrong spot. Then we can re-enable it here. So now when this box gets to this point, it should disable it. So we're clicking, and it's disabled. We can no longer click while the enemy is in front of us. And once it's out, we can click again. There we go. So that's how you can use signals to do things like this, where an enemy blocks you from doing something. I mean, in some games, maybe you'll take damage from the enemy, so it'll be the same, but instead of just like doing a disable flag here, you can set the variable you need, anything like that, and just have fun with it. Do whatever you want. That's the beauty of programming. You just make it do stuff. Make it do what you want. And so we could have like multiple enemies that do the same thing. Just kind of like line them up. Or we could even set it so that like they move back and forth, or they like teleport back to the beginning. Right. We could say like, we have these two enemies, then let's say this enemy script, you move, and then you can check for a reset. Oops. And so you can see like if your position dot x is greater than, I guess you could get like the root canvas's x max amount, but since we aren't like doing anything crazy, we could just say like whatever this x value is over here, or like maybe about here. Or we could say like when it gets to here, it resets the x value, right? So when it's here, that would be 1,200. Let's call it. When it gets over 1,200, forgot the if part of that if statement. Then we reset back to, we could just set it back to negative 55 or something. Now this isn't like, this is not the normal way you would spawn and despawn enemies. Usually you would, in this script, you could kind of set it to do that. Or you could say like, if you're outside of here, you like despawn, get rid of yourself, and then in the main, you would just like say every once in a while you spawn in an enemy, something like that. And then you could add a new of this scene inside of there. But for our purposes right now, we could do something like this. So if it gets to that 12,000, it just goes back to 55, negative 55. That way, as we're playing, let's move them a little faster. It's kind of slow for testing. Here we go. So we're playing, we're clicking this button, we're having a grand old time, getting into the negatives here. Disabled, we can't play the game. No, we can. Oh, no, we can't. And we can go again. And then we're like, good riddance, enemies. Oh no, they're back. They looped. And they disabled it again. So you could set it up so that they disable any of these buttons. You could do it so that it's based on the enemy's script. So the enemy touches any buttons, that it could disable them. There's a lot of things you can do. But that adds a little bit of something interesting into the game, right? Being able to disable the buttons if there's an enemy in the way. So yeah, that's what you would do for something like an enemy or a player or anything that you need inside of another scene that is either going to be reused in another scene or used multiple times in the scene. It's just like a reusable chunk that you can put anywhere, which is nice to have. So that's why you would do scenes and scenes. All right, I think that's it for our game though. Unless anybody else has any suggestions before we head out. I think we're gonna end here a little earlier than usual. Just a few minutes earlier. I don't think there's much I can do in 20 minutes, but if somebody has something, I could add in something. Oh, you know what? Forgot to be having my music on this whole time, huh? Could have been playing music. All right. I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you all for watching. it was a lot of fun. I like programming. I like making little games. And you can see what we did, yeah? It was just under 2.5 hours of programming. We got a playable game with a win condition and enemies, right? And lots of buttons. But thank you all for watching. Thanks again for the raid. Thank you, raiders, for sticking around and for all the follows. I appreciate it a lot. And I hope to see you next time on Sunday. Sunday night, we're gonna be playing a new game that's voted on by chat. So I'll have some games for chat to vote on, and whichever one they choose is the one we start playing. And then on Wednesday, next Wednesday, we'll be continuing our playthrough of Deltarune. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye! You know what? You're right. I did forget to do a raid, so stick around so you can join the raid into the next stream. We're gonna go ahead and raid into Dragon Phoenix raid. It's somebody I like to watch playing some Mario Kart Worlds, so stick around to watch that, guys. I'll see you in the raid. Bye bye!